I've been consistently training for about 12 years. And in this video, I'll be sharing you my insights about how I managed to stay so consistent and how training became a part of my life. So in early life, I was always a skinny kid, loved sports, I was very active, and I played most sports, most team sports, from handball, football, basketball, which I trained in high school and elementary school, table tennis, and any other sports we did manage to play in school. I started going to the gym when I was around 16 and a half years old. This is after I had a small fight with my basketball coach. I just didn't see any point of staying in the team anymore. I was already interested then about the gym and just wanted to try it out. So I never knew this would be a chapter of my life that would definitely make the biggest transformation. So back then, when I started, I was just a regular high school kid. My grades weren't any good. I was playing video games most of the time, and the other parts of the time I would just go to the gym or I would hang out with friends, and that's it pretty much. Even before starting my fitness journey, I was looking up to some back then influencers. There was only YouTube and no real social media except, I guess, Facebook. So the first name that came up to me was Ziz. He was a true inspiration for me. I adored watching his motivational videos, and his story left a remarkable effect on me. After a couple of years in the gym, I even started making some more serious progress. I was very into fitness and I started looking upon some newer names back then, and Instagram was coming out, so I was watching the influencers that I found on Instagram. I would watch them on YouTube, and those were Lazar Angelov and probably the best and most favorite physique of all time. It's Ryan Terry. Ryan Terry has and had and has still today the best physique of all time, if you ask me. He was my number one role model. I strived to attain physique like he had. At this point, after 2, 3 years, gym was already a part of me, which I would just not skip. It made me feel good. It made me perform better in school. In just my mood was much brighter. I would be more proud and satisfied with myself. The whole pursuit of the physique I want and the whole journey of training and just striving to become stronger and better and comparing the results with others, even though you shouldn't do that, but it just kept me going and it felt so easy, especially in the early college years and by the end of high school. There were certain very stressful periods where I was supposed to be constantly studying, and I remember that I was so stressed at one point about making better grades and just passing some exams that I couldn't focus, and at that point I knew I need to go out from my home and I would never go anywhere except to the gym. So I trained so hard for like hour and a half, and I came home and I felt so good, and I could study normally. I could perform everything until the end of the day with such ease. However, there was even more influential people back then, like Arnold, which I really looked upon and still look upon this day. I would copy his workouts, I would watch his videos and his documentaries, and it was just amazing for me to see what kind of physique is it really possible to attain. I was always chasing that very lean, aesthetic, symmetrical look that I just wanted it so bad. So when I started, the first session was a free session with a trainer who pretty much just showed me some simple exercises and the machines. And after that, I pretty much started everything just by myself, testing things out, making a lots of research on the internet about the workouts, and just started and never stopped. There was no real structure. There was just my will, lots of motivational videos, and just feeling great after the workout that kept me pushing. And about the early nutrition, there was absolutely zero knowledge. I was pretty much most of my life skipping breakfast and doing intermittent fasting without even knowing what this is, which I suppose was the greatest habit that I had, which today it still keeps me very lean as I can just deal with hunger really well. And back then I was eating whatever I wanted. It was most of the time just chicken, french fries, bolognese sauce with pasta, and bunch of pancakes, bread, and Nutella. And it was same day to day, week to week, without tracking calories, without any single metric except my photos. And this is what I managed in this first year. So let's say the last 5 years of the training, I've kept myself much more responsible, much more aware of what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, not just brainless pumping, but just being much more focused on certain areas of my body and just the developing of the right routine, of the mindset to keep pushing, keep going, keep being disciplined no matter what comes at you, no matter how tough life gets. I just developed this habit of becoming unstoppable. And I tell myself this all the time, like I'm unstoppable, I'm unstoppable. And this is from one of the famous videos, Brian Tracy.
The most important quality or characteristic that you can develop for happiness and success is to be unstoppable yourself, is to think of yourself as unstoppable. And you know how you become unstoppable? It's by the basic psychological behavioral development principle of simply saying it to yourself. Because whatever you say to yourself and believe over and over again, you start to believe as a reality. You start to walk it and talk it and act it. So what you say is, I am unstoppable. I'm unstoppable. I'm unstoppable. I don't care what it is. I'm unstoppable. Nothing will stop me. The greatest of all qualities to guarantee success is the absolute willingness to go at anything and refuse to stop until you achieve it. And you know something? The statistics show that 95% of the goals that you set for yourself, you will achieve if you refuse to quit.
I recommend you watch at least one of his seminars, and this just keeps me going. Training the last few years is not about getting stronger or looking better. It's just mostly for the head, just for keeping myself in a good mood and being able to perform through stressful moments. What I care the most about these days is if I am in the right environment. It is more of a who am I spending my time with the most? What am I eating and how aware I am of what I'm eating and how does this affect my energy? And this is the biggest breakthrough which led me to having a very strict and disciplined routine for the past 2.5 years where I really managed some wonderful things. I worked on myself internally more than externally and just became much more wiser, more disciplined, and more unbreakable in my mind. Also, to mention one of the main things what everyone should be looking after except nutrition is as well proper recovery. So the days when I sleep good or when I sleep enough or more than enough, these days when I wake up, I feel like I can conquer the whole world. if you really try, for example, not watching screen your phone before going to sleep, read something, go for a short walk, meditate, just intentionally breathe deeply, get yourself in a state where you're very relaxed, and then go to sleep. Get around 7.5 hours is what usually works for me perfectly. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it has to be less, but this is what I can work perfectly on, and just makes this feeling of being well rested solves most of your problems, I promise you. So, to shortly reflect back on everything that's been on the journey, I will definitely say that pushing through the most stressful periods of my life, my lowest points, my highest points, my whether it was good, bad, or fantastic training, especially gym, made it better for me, made it easier for me, made it more fulfilling to me. And whatever you're going through right now, you have to keep pushing. You can go to the gym, you start working on yourself externally, on your physique, getting better, in better shape, which will lead you to becoming a better, more proud, more satisfied person, and even importantly, work internally, work on acquiring new healthy habits and starting to train. This is one small step that's gonna lead you someday to becoming an inspiration and motivation for others. For me, training is solution for everything. That's why I keep going, and that's why I never stop.